Hello. So today we're going to do a seated hips practice. So we're going to start in seated Konasana. Now load yourself up with some blankets. You might even be higher than me. This just makes sure that the lower back is comfortable and you've got a nice tall spine. And the shoulders can stack nicely over the hips. And then having a look at your feet, let them open like a book. And then that allows the hips just to relax here and open. And then we're going to keep a grip of the ankles, and we're going to keep the shoulders down away from the ears, and then close our eyes or find a gaze point just beyond screen, so maybe out the window at some trees. And then just take some smooth inhales here, in through the nose and then out through the nose. And then just being aware of where your breath is in your body. If you've been quite active already today, then you might find that it takes a while to connect with your breath, especially with that exhale. And then just listen to the smooth sound of the breath at the back of the throat. You can actually use the back of the throat to control the length of the inhale and the exhale and the smoothness of it. And start to get nice and relaxed in this seated position. And then just placing the hands here on the tops of the knees, giving yourself a few little shoulder rolls. Again, connecting back with that breath. And if you need to do some exhales out of the mouth, go for it. They can make you feel really good, especially at the end of the day. And then let the shoulders settle either side of you. Turn your head to one side. Let's take an inhale and exhale here. We'll take the chin here down towards the first collarbone. We breathe for it, inhale and exhale. To our center of chest here. To the next collarbone. And just feeling the transfer around the back of the trapezius. And then gazing to the other side of the room. Again, we might have focus points around the room. We'll go back, so to that collarbone. Just feel that stretch at the back of the neck. To the center. To the next collarbone. And then back up to the other side. We'll come back to center here. We're still going to work with the neck, just taking a twist with it. So take hold of foot, calf, shin, and place the other hand behind. If you're raised up, you might not reach the floor, but you can hold on some of the blankets here. Roll that back shoulder open and then feel from this hand at the front that you've got this lovely length of the arm, but then let this chin move away from the arm so the ear goes towards the back shoulder and you're looking for a stretch from the collarbone to the jawline. And then again, find your focus points. You might even choose to close your eyes. We'll stay here for 4 more inhale, 4 more exhale. Noticing the breath in the chest at this point as well. And using the breath to help with the stretch. Coming back to center. Before we do the other side, let's just do a couple of shoulder rolls here. Maybe some exhales out of the mouth. And then we'll take the twist the other way. So hold on to the same place, just the other side. And then hand behind, even if it's just holding onto blankets. Get that shoulder down, back and out and away. Find that gaze point, then start to tilt here the head towards the back shoulder so that you're looking for a stretch from collarbone to jawline. Let's breathe for 4, counting the inhale. Notice the breath in the chest, soft jawline. We don't want to grip here at the jawline as we hold this stretch. And then come back to center. We're going to wiggle a little bit from side to side to feel that we're on the sit bones, we're not leaning back, and it's a pelvic tilt. And then hands to feet or to the floor here. We're just going to feel the openness at the back of the pelvis. Find a focus beyond, or you might choose to close your eyes here. Shoulders drop down, nice tall spine. Let's breathe here for 5. So nice calming breath, quite grounding with the hands here down to the floor as well. See if you can deepen the breath into the body, so filling the whole of the torso. This will help to reach around the back of the pelvis as well. And then come back up to your seated position. We're going to go cross-legged now, and I'm going to lose my blanket, but you can keep your hips raised if that feels better for your back and posture. And don't worry about which one is in front, because we'll do a bit one way and then we'll do a bit the other. Okay, so we're going to take some nice circles here. Again, this is coming from the pelvis, so the spine is lovely and tall. And then you're just treating this as a massage here underneath the hips, into the hamstring area, into the glute, the back of the pelvis. Just a lovely warm up. Also can feel quite nice and hypnotic. Nice flow of breath here. And just easing ourselves into our hips. Let's go the other way. Good, and then coming up to a seated position. Okay, so we're going to take the front leg out and away. So we want to kind of remember what legs we're on. I'm just going to change my angle for focus, for viewpoint, and then just have a little wriggle again to check that you're right on those sit bones. Keep the kneecaps soft. You don't want to lock the knee out here. And then we're just going to get into the hamstring and calf. So spine nice and tall, hands nice and relaxed. Now flex the foot to start with, and that might just be enough to get into that calf muscle as you flex the foot. Okay. Now it could be that you're more upright. That's absolutely fine. Try not to let it slouch down. This is a way to stretch, but I want to keep you nice and tall in the spine for this one so that we don't ache through the thoracic. So nice tall spine. Some of us might be flexible and can reach for the edge of the foot as well. But again, just bear in mind that this doesn't pull through the lower back. So if you're comfortable holding on, hold on for a little bit of an extra stretch here. If not, we can be a little bit more relaxed with the shoulders, softening here and holding. Let's breathe for 5 now. And you might get some sensation into the leg here. Keeping nice and active. And then bringing yourself out of there. Okay, so this leg, we're going to bend now. So this was the front one to begin with. So we remember this is the front throughout this little sequence. And we're going to place the foot either here by the ankle, okay, or what we're going to do is place the foot all the way over to the top of the knee like so. I'm just going to hold mine here, okay, and then we'll go for a little open twist first. So hand to the inner side of the foot, again, can be the same on this, okay? And then when you're ready, arm on the inside, shoulders relaxed, take a little twist here, find that focus point and breathe for 5. And then coming back to center, 2 options. If you can place the ankle on the top, release this, well, not release, pull away this underneath ankle a little, so the ankles stack nicely in line with hips. And then we've got this one, okay, or cross-legged position, just as we did originally, hands to floor for a little bit of groundedness here. Or if you're in fire log, which is a lot stronger on the hips, then you might choose to just take index finger and thumb together and then hinge at the hips as we work into this. We'll have a little bit of a longer hold here with both. So I'll do half the time with fire log and half the time with cross-legged. Breathe into it here. And get the breath to reach right down into the hips, into the back of the pelvis. Also a good opportunity to just close your eyes. And then you may hold it here in fire log, and I'll just do some cross-legged. So same idea, just slightly different position of the legs here, and we breathe. It could be that you fold it all the way down with head down too. Keeping nice and relaxed as we get into these hips. And coming back up. Okay, let's switch the legs the other way. So from this cross-legged position, it should be a simple switch over here. And it might feel different, perhaps have a little bit of a rock from side to side to check both sit bones are nice and balanced. And then we'll do our rotations. So smooth hypnotic rolls from the pelvis, spine nice and tall. Connect with that breath. Invite some exhales out of the mouth if that feels good for you today. Find that viewpoint beyond screen or out the window, a tree or something, and just sort of feel how this is at the underneath position of the sort of hamstring area all the way around to the back of the hips. And then changing direction the other way. And it might feel slightly different to the other side. We tend to hold a little bit more tightness through one side than the other. That's totally normal. And the idea is that we just make sure that we balance both sides. And then coming up to our central point. Okay, so take that long leg out on the other side. This comes as a hip opener into the inside of the leg. Have a little wriggle to check that you're on sit bones, not the fleshy part. And then flex the foot. That might be enough. Shoulders drop down here. And then see what it feels like to reach and hold it there. If it pulls through the middle back, then it's not worth it. Just keep a lovely flex foot. Hands either side, shoulders drop down. We find our focus point or close our eyes. And we breathe here for 5. And then come back up. We're going to draw this leg in towards us. So either placing ankles quite close together or popping the ankle here over the top. If you're going over the top, just check both sit bones are down as you do this, okay? You'll take a much bigger twist this way. From here, we'll take the hands or the arms here to the inner side. You can hold onto your toe or foot. Take the other hand here behind as we make this open twist. Find that gaze and we breathe for 5. And then coming back, 2 options. We can go fire log. So ankle on top of knee. You might need to bring this one out a little bit if you're sat upright. Or if that feels too strong, then go to your cross-legged position that we had previously. Hands to floor, shoulders relaxed, and just working into the hips that way. I'll go fire log first. We've got a bit of a longer hold here. So fire log, you might forward fold a fair bit or just here placing wrists on top of knees, connecting index finger and thumb, dropping shoulders, hinging at the hips, and then just gently breathing into that space all the way into the body. So we reach the back of the pelvis, closing eyes perhaps. So very strong. So don't be afraid to take the more cross-legged position if you prefer. And then you may stay in your fire log a little longer. I'm just going to show cross-legged position. So hands to floor, sit bones down, and you might be forearms and head down. Okay, and we just breathe into it here. So same posture, just a little longer hold. And then bringing ourselves out of that position. Okay, so we're going to go into the quads now, and we're going to go for, sometimes referred to as mermaid, or I often call it a hero leg. So I'm just going to turn to the side for this one. Make like a zigzag shape with the sole of the foot coming into the inner thigh. But we ideally want that knee pointing directly from our hips. So if our hips were pointing forward, our knee would work that way as well. I need to be onto the top of the foot as well. This can be uncomfortable, in which case we take a blanket, a cushion, whatever, and just prop ourselves up higher if need be. This will take the pressure off the foot here. I'm taking this away for visual reasons. Okay, so once we're in this position here, we're going to access here through the quad. So take the hands out towards the corners of the mat. You get a little bit of shoulder work here too. And then the first thing we'll do is simply just engage this gluteal muscle on our hero leg. So just lift here the glute as we rest here without slouching into shoulders, and just see how that feels. Some of us will feel it strong, others won't feel it enough. So the next level up from here, as long as you're comfortable with shoulders, is to lift up a little higher to see how that feels. It'll probably move up the leg here into more of a quad stretch. And then we can go all the way up as well, which becomes a little bit more of a chest opener. And I would just keep the chin neutral here, gaze point to almost the ceiling, not quite. And just bring the shoulder blades together nicely. If it gets too strong in the shoulders, then slowly bring yourself down to the other levels as such. And it could be that you're just happy here, engaging that gluteal muscle. And we'll now stay here for 5. So breathe into it here. Little bit of an energizer with this one as the chest is open. And then releasing out of there, and we'll repeat on the other side. So just changing the legs the other way, mermaid with a hero leg. And then if we need to prop ourselves up, to take our blankets and raise our hips up a little bit higher here. Okay, so the ankle sits on the outer side of the hip and the knee points forward of the hip. So my hips are going in this direction. So my knee is forward, not too wide. Place the hands behind, and then let's just see how it feels just to engage here on the hero leg. Okay, so the hero leg I'm focusing on, I'm just going to lift and see how that is. Have a look at where we'll sort of find our focus point. Breathe into it here. And then we'll try the level up and see how that feels. And if it moves up the leg, some more. Strong on wrists, strong on shoulders, but good to get into those. You can, of course, stay down the whole time. And then we have got all the way up as well. As we draw the shoulder blades together, I would keep the chin almost in, not quite, focus point not quite to ceiling. Breathing into it here. And if at any point it just feels too much on shoulders, we take ourselves down and we can just focus on that back gluteal muscle here. We'll stay here for 5. Good, and release out of there. Okay, so we'll go into a lunge position now. So take hold of a blanket if you need underneath your knee. Okay, this back a bit. And then I'm going to go right leg forward. Okay. And then tuck the tailbone here underneath. So again, we get this lovely quad stretch happening. So we'll just hold it here. We'll go to eagle arms as well. So with right leg forward, take left arm high with right underneath, linking the arms, elbows out, hands away, and then inhale, lift, exhale down. So even though we're working the arms as a bit of a distraction, you keep going with eagle arms. We've still got this lovely quad stretch happening here. And then with right leg forward, take the left arm high. So even though you can't see my left arm, it's straight up to the ceiling. And then keep the hips moving forward as you tuck under. And then arc over and away, over to the right to get into the side of the hip here, and possibly a little bit into the sides of the ribs. We breathe into it. Releasing out of there, we'll come back into hamstring. So just rock back, fingertips to the floor, okay? If you can't reach fingertips to the floor, then just do your hands to the hips instead for this kind of runner's hamstring stretch. Again, flex the foot. You might feel this more in the calf. Keep the hips up nice and high. Breathe for 5. Okay, and then we'll work through the other side. So I'll just rotate round. We've got left leg forward, tuck underneath here to get the quad, tummy button in as well to protect through the lower back. And then as we get into this quad, let's go with eagle arms. So with left leg forward, you go right arm high, left underneath, link, and then inhale, lift, exhale down. So keep going with the arms, keep tucking tailbone underneath so we've got this quad stretch. Some of you might choose to be on the ball of the foot as well, the toes underneath with the back leg as well. And then releasing the arms. We're going to take the right arm up, still work forward with the hips, but then arc over to the left. So we feel this into the sides here and possibly a little bit into ribs as well. Releasing out of there, we'll go hamstring. So fingertips to the floor as we come back here with the calf. So flex the foot, and you might have hands to hips instead. And if you don't feel too stable, bring the ankle a little bit more forward as well. Just get into that. Let's breathe for 5. Nice tall spine as much as possible. And then knees together. We'll go into down dog, but we'll go wide with it. So just lose my blanket a second. So hands the width of the mat, and then curl the toes underneath. Work back here, but then take the feet the width of the mat, and then hold one down. Okay, have a look through. Give your head a little bit of a shake. New perspective here, looking upside down, and just work into that calf. Let's breathe here. And then transfer over to the other side. So push the heel down. So you've got a lovely long spine. The other leg is bent, and we just work into that calf with that heel down. Let's breathe. And then dropping knees to the floor. You can go wide with your knees if you want to, or closer together. Big toes down, and then I would take the arms out of it by just folding here, and then forehead here to hands, sinking the hips down into the heels. Closing your eyes. Just letting the heart rate come down. Lovely breath work here to help calm the system down. And then we'll take our cushion or blanket for our head. And now we feel nice and calm. We'll take ourselves to the floor. Head nice and relaxed. Hands can just rest on tummy here. Feet wider than the mat. And then let one knee rock in and one knee rock out. And then just change from side to side. And just feel here the massage at the back of the pelvis. Nice and slow, nice and steady. Keeping that calming breath. And then just taking legs out and away, ready for Shavasana, letting feet just rock outwards here. And I'll talk through some relaxation. So closing your eyes, making sure you're warm, covered up. And we've got lovely breath, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through the nose. And we might find the breath softens here. And then just noticing the ankles rock outwards, letting the toes let go, softening the soles of the feet. And then as we come up to the calves and shins, softening here. Around the backs of the knees, softening at the kneecaps, letting them just roll, or the part of the leg roll out here. And then we notice the space along the inside of the legs, right up to the front of the pelvis. We loosen through the tops of the legs and into the backs of the thighs. And we feel the back of the pelvis nice and grounded on the floor. Right and left hip, nice and balanced. Then we'll have a natural curve of the spine. Soften here. And if hands are on tummy, just find that gentle rise and fall of breath at your tummy. And then coming up to your chest. Feel the opening here. Shoulders open. And at the back of the middle back, between the shoulders, this too feels nicely grounded. We soften along the tops of the shoulders. We soften into the arms, upper arms, elbows, taking it down into forearms, wrists and palms. And again, just noticing the balance between the right and the left. We feel the length in the back of the neck, and the skull is nice and heavy, giving the neck muscles a nice release and relax. And then soften all the way around the hairline. And then from the hairline to the back of the skull. Soften along the jaw, into the upper lip, into the cheeks, the temples, into the eyes and eye sockets. And then lastly finishing at the forehead. And then just giving yourself a little bit of time here, relaxing and releasing after your hip practice. we'll slowly start to wake ourselves up. So wiggle fingers and toes. Bend your knees. And then you might want to hug your knees in towards you. Or sway your legs here from side to side. Or even just take a natural roll over to one side. Just take a moment to be aware of how you feel. Gently opening your eyes, connecting back with your breath. Maybe having a sigh or a yawn. And then coming up to the seated position. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.